Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are having our annual getting together annually to see what we've done in the past and what we plan to do and how we plan to go ahead forward with our goal of a peaceful, harmonious South Asia. So welcome, everybody. Good day. I think for some it's morning, some it's afternoon, but good day to everyone. And I'm here in Lahore, speaking from Lahore, and it's a very cold winter this year, colder than normal, and but it's also the time of the festive, the periods, months of in Lahore. The winters are when we have a number of events, and I think some of you have been here in those events. We've just had a Think Fest with the lineup of amazing speakers from abroad as well as in Pakistan. A lot of thought-provoking sessions, and lasted for 3 days. And soon we will have the Lahore Literature Festival to be followed by Fairs Festival, along with the ASMA Jahangir Conference. So the next month and a half is going to be packed. And in the past, we used to have lots of people coming from India to join in these festivals. The number has trickled down. It's become more difficult. But we always look forward to that, especially at the Fairs Festival and the Literature Festival. But anyway, this is just to share with you the busy season, of Lahore. At the same time, I'd also like to mention that we've had a very tragic incident in Karachi, where a shopping mall, there was a fire which consumed the whole building, and over 70 people died in that. So it's also a sad moment that something like this happens, but fires break out and there's not enough safety procedures that are in place. A lot to think about. So as we start today's session, I will, as per practice, we'll do a memorial for people who passed away since our last meeting. There's Dr. Arfa Sayyeda in Pakistan, an educationist, a historian, a human rights activist, a wonderful debater, deep knowledge of literature, and a forthright speaker. She didn't hold back. So she passed away in November 2025, and then we've also got our friend, Pramod Bhasin, if you remember. Pramod Bhasin and his wife Mrital Bhasin have been part of Sapan's activities. Their organization Muskan on road safety. If you remember, we had this very important discussion on that. So he also passed away, and so maybe we can have a minute of silence to remember them and to pay them some respect. So with this pause, I will pass the mic on to Beena to give us a brief overview of what Sapan's been doing and Sapan what stands for, just as a reminder to us. Yes, Beena?
Thank you, Rani. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for being here. I'll be very brief, but before I start, I just want to take note of 3 giants from the journalism world also who left us recently. Mark Tully, the well-known former BBC correspondent and one of the founders of the Foreign Correspondents Club of South Asia, who had made India his home, passed away today. And just a few days ago, we lost N. Satya Murthy, a prolific writer on Sri Lanka and the Maldives, who passed away in Chennai. And just 2 days before that, defense and political correspondent Iqbal Athas of the Sri Lankan weekly Sunday Times, who passed away in Colombo just before that. So yeah, it's been a time of many losses. I would just like to give a brief overview about Sapan here, which is the Southasia Peace Action Network, sharing gratitude to each and every one who joined us in this journey, which started in March 2021. So as you all know, what we've achieved together, I think most of you are well aware of that, has exceeded our most optimistic dreams. Together, we've advanced the objectives of Southasia Peace through a series of groundbreaking initiatives. For one thing, nearly 140 organizations and hundreds of individuals, including many renowned public figures, have endorsed the Sapan Founding Charter. And then also we've fostered the importance of collaboration and civil dialogue through dozens of online and in-person discussions around issues ranging from sport, art, and music to restorative justice, climate change, human rights, and many other topics. And we have a global newsroom that many of you have contributed to that now produces 2 to 4 syndicated features a week, providing context for headline news. And around maybe 40 media outlets around the globe carry our articles. So I think that's pretty good. And we've done most of this on a voluntary basis. Since registering Sapan Foundation as a nonprofit and starting to fundraise, we can now cover some operational costs and pay modest honoraria to some staff and writers. And this is the support of you, of our community, that has made the last year that just passed our most successful fundraising year ever since we started fundraising not so long ago in 2023. And so now we can, really plan to move forward with greater intensity. And one more thing I'd like to say is that our social media ethics pledge that has been endorsed by many prominent journalists and lawyers and professionals is another example of our leadership in this space. And it's been really, we've got a very, very good response to that. And anyone who hasn't endorsed it, please go to sapannews.com/social and sign on. And then the documentary, Democracy in Debt, Sri Lanka Beyond the Headlines, supported by the Pulitzer Center in 2024 that I produced, was another tool for building community and engaging viewers as active citizens. So we completed Sinhala and Urdu versions last year. So I think it must be a first maybe that a documentary like this made in English by a Pakistani in Sri Lanka now has Sinhala and Urdu versions as well, which makes it accessible to more audiences. So Sapan, as most of you know, started in 2021 with a very simple question, which Dr. Mubashir Hassan had first asked me, and most of you know him, our former finance minister and pioneer in the Pakistan-India people-to-people movement. He said, if France and Germany can be part of the European Union, why can't we have a South Asia Union with soft borders, with economic cooperation and collaboration in all areas? So that's the question that then led us to start this initiative. So we're excited to meet the challenges and the opportunities that lie ahead to take the Sapan vision further. And thank you all so much for being with us on this journey. So I'm going to end with love and with hope and solidarity. And thanks for all that each of you do that are here to make the world a better place. Together we are stronger. So I'll now pass it on to Sapan News Associate Editor Pragyan Srivastava. Go ahead, Pragyan.
Thank you so much, Beena. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining Sapan January Circle, catching up and looking ahead. My name is Pragyan Srivastava, and I am the Associate Editor at Sapan News, as Beena already told. Today, I'll be presenting Sapan News 2025 Year in the Review. In 2025, Sapan News deepened its role as a cross-border, people-centered journalism platform rooted in South Asia and its diaspora. Across reporting, syndication, ethics advocacy, and community supported funding, this year marked a steady expansion of our reach, credibility, and impact. Sapan News features reporting from the ground up. In 2025, Sapan News published 112 original articles, including reported features, commentaries, dossiers, and personal essays. Our coverage focused on politics, peace, media freedom, climate justice, culture, and rights across South Asia and diaspora. Our journalism reached 174,000 readers, which on Substack, we reached to 130,000 views, and on our website, 44,000 views. From youth-led protests in Nepal and Bangladesh to air pollution, press freedom, diaspora politics, and cultural memory, Sapan News prioritized reporting that connected lived experience with regional and global power structures. Much of this work was produced through on-the-ground reporting and close collaboration with writers, activists, scholars, and journalists across the region. Sapan News as a syndicated service. In 2025, Sapan News stories were republished 76 times, reflecting growing trust in our editorial standards and the relevance of our reporting beyond our own platforms. Our work appeared in 21 regional and international outlets, including The Wire, Scroll, South Asia Monitor, Bangla News 24, Cambridge Day, Global Silk Route, South Asia Union, Scouted.news, The Friday Times, Kashmir Times, and among others. The syndication model has extended the life and reach of our journalism while ensuring the South Asian perspectives travel across border and media ecosystem. Social Media Ethics Pledge. In 2025, our Social Media Ethics Pledge continued responding to growing concerns around misinformation, hate speech, algorithmic amplification, and the erosion of trust in public discourse. The pledge has now been endorsed by more than 135 journalists, editors, academics, activists, and media professionals. Endorsers include veteran journalist P. Sainath, human rights defender Tista Talwar from India, Sri Lankan media professional Priyantha Pradeep Raj Singh, Pakistani political activist and author Farhad Babar, and Turkey-based Dutch correspondent Rob Breken, among many others. This initiative has positioned Sapan News not only as a publisher but also as a convener of ethical conversations around journalism and digital responsibility in South Asia and diaspora. A community-backed year-end fundraising success. From November 1 to December 31, 2025, Sapan News ran a successful year-end fundraising campaign as a part of News Match 2025, where every donation was matched or tripled. With the support of more than 100 individual donors, we raised $25,000, unlocking up to $50,000 in total funding for independent cross-border journalism. These contributions directly support our reporting, fair compensation for writers, editorial operations, and the long-term sustainability for Sapan News. Looking ahead, the milestone of 2025 reaffirmed what Sapan News set out to build: a journalism platform grounded in solidarity, credibility, and collaboration across South Asia and diaspora. As media freedom shrinks, polarization deepens, the need for independent, people-centered reporting remains urgent. In 2026, Sapan News will continue to invest in original reporting, ethical media practices, and cross-border partnership, strengthened by the community that made this year possible. Thank you so much, and back to our wonderful host, Khawar Mumtaz.
Thank you. We have done quite a bit in this last year especially. So congratulations to the Sapan News team, as well as all our friends and partners and endorsers that we've been moving ahead. Now, today we're planning to have, we're requesting everybody who's come, especially those who've been partners in Sapan activities and webinars and contributors, to just update us on what they're doing and how we can connect their work more forcefully in the coming year. Khushi Kabir is one of our founder members of Sapan and based in Dhaka.
Thank you for giving me a bit of space. I think this is a wonderful idea that we are sitting and wanting to hear from each other as to what is happening. I put my earplugs on later on my phone and hear what you all have to say. So I'll just speak about, one is Sangat, the South Asian Gender Activist Network, that is, which I'm now the advisor for, and as to what they have done over these years. But before that, I just want to say, I think the situation that we are going through in Bangladesh now, more than ever, makes me believe and realize how much of this interaction and strength that we need from all of us within South Asia. the South Asian regional identity, the support and the strength that we can give each other is even more crucial now than ever, as our countries in each of our region are facing enormous hurdles and creating havoc after havoc in each of our countries. So I'll start with Sangat. And Sangat, this year, every year, Sangat has one thing, is one in most of the countries, except for Maldives and Bhutan. Afghanistan, we had a very strong presence, but they're all still with us, but outside the country now. And in Nepal, in India, in Pakistan, in Sri Lanka, and in Bangladesh, we have very strong Sangat core group members who take on activities within their own area to promote and bring out issues of solidarity and issues of feminist thinking, and try and bring in more people into our network. So this year, we had our South Asian Women's Day, which is held on the 30th of November. And in all our countries, we had major programs and risings, film shows, which in quite a few countries, we had this film festival. It was the same films being shown in all our countries. So that was something, this one of us, Anuradha Kapoor from Kolkata, she arranged it, and they had this, which they sent the films to all of us. And we again had film festivals and film showings in our own countries. So we did this across South Asia, which I thought was a nice bonding way of seeing the same films with each other. This year, unfortunately, we couldn't have the month-long course, which is the Sangat's major activity. It's a 1 month-long residential course for people coming from all over South Asia and sometimes beyond. In this 1 month-long course, we also have people coming in from Bhutan, from Maldives, from other places, Afghanistan, even beyond, who spend a month and they get a lot of analysis and discussion and exposure to what is the current feminist thinking, what are concepts and theories, and visit each other and learn from each other and each other's countries and what is happening in all our countries. So this year we couldn't have it because Nepal had their movement, which ousted the government then in September, and the course was supposed to be held in October. So we are going to be having it this year instead. So this year we'll be having one course for the 2 years. We also had a lot of sharing of what's happening, and we are planning of having, and this is an idea I got from Sapan, of holding amongst ourselves a webinar on Zoom, because that's much easier for us to get together and talk about a certain topic and see what is happening. And looking at what's happening politically and in terms of what it affects and how it affects women in each of our countries. So that's what we've been doing in Sangat. We've got a very good, Sangat has endorsed the charter and is a part of Sapan. And Sangat has, I remember we did one from Sangat, a song for Sapan's 3rd anniversary, I think it was, that we, one of Kamla Bhasin's songs that we recorded, which is still found on YouTube. I find that it's still there and people are watching it. So this was done by Sangat Secretariat here, and we had it. So that goes on, and I think all the South Asian networks are important to bring us together. I'll be very brief. The other thing that I did this year was attend the South Asian Foundation meeting, which is something that Madanjit Singh, someone who we think is one of our doyens, one of the people that we honor when we think about who brought us together. So it's Madanjit Singh's foundation, which is the South Asia Foundation. And we had a meeting in Maldives and again shared the need for us being closer together as a region, despite everything that our governments do. briefly about Nijera Kori, the organization I'm with, and I have been with for the last 45 years. So we had a 45 years. It's an organization that's different from other NGOs. We don't provide any credit or any kind of inputs. We build up very strong, self-reliant, self-help groups in the local communities of the most marginalized communities till they become very strong and active voices in their own region. So there we have been able to, when we started, people thought we wouldn't be able to succeed for a year or maximum 2-3 years. We are still 45 years and going strong and getting stronger. So we had a huge celebration, which was really wonderful. And where we had all the grassroots people coming and telling us, these were people that we worked with, landless women, landless men, indigenous women and men, who have been fighting their own struggles and battles. And we learned from them their struggle of 45 years of how they're, combating in many ways, not just patriarchy, but class, religious bigotry, all kinds of whatever they're happening. So that was a very positive thing for us to have to listen to them, and we enjoyed it. So gives us more strength to continue. And I think we really need more and more. I'll just end on that note again. More and more to learn to be with each other and to support each other. I've also been involved this time with Mazher's Doyen of Peace Initiative, which he will talk about, and which now other younger people in Bangladesh are looking after. So thank you very much, Khawar Mumtaz Rani, for giving me this time. I have to go back to my family soon, but I will listen it. Thank you.
You're muted, Rani. You're muted.
Thank you, Khushi. I think what's very encouraging, and I think which creates the spirit of South Asian identity, is our bonding across borders and things happening in spite of all the other problems that our governments may have, which is very encouraging. And to sustain them has become one of our sort of objectives. So now I'll ask Mr. Mazher Hussain from Hyderabad, COVA, if you could just inform us about share with us the activities and how we can connect with each other across borders.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Let me clarify, because whenever there is an audience with Pakistanis, I have to clarify that I am from Hyderabad, Dakar. Otherwise, they think I am from Hyderabad, Sindh, which also, I've faced many times. It's a good, confusion, but I think it also shows how closely we are connected. Thanks for this opportunity to speak about two of our programs. One is the multi-faith celebrations, and the second one is about Doyens of Peace. We both are designed to address the increasing polarization within and across countries. First, because time is limited, so let me just go straight to the issue of multi-faith celebrations. See, for many years, I think most of us have been doing and are also engaged in interfaith programs, interfaith meetings, where for some festivals and others, religious leaders, faith leaders, and others can gather together in a church or in a temple or a mosque or whatever and celebrate a specific festival of that religion. And what we have also done it for nearly over 20 years. But what we realized is that this format has got certain limitations. One limitation is that only top people are involved, the faith leaders, thought leaders, and others. It doesn't percolate down to the people. And it's only possible with one festival. Now, what we have realized of late is most people, especially the youth, these days, they don't seem to be having much knowledge about their own faith, about their own religion. but they seem to be knowing more about other faiths and religions. And that too negative, thanks to WhatsApp. In India, I can tell you with confidence that Muslim youth would know more about the negatives of the Hindu faith than about their own faith, and vice versa with the Hindu youth. So I think this is something which is very, very serious and which we need to address, and that is what is contributing to polarization. So we came up with this concept of multi-faith celebrations, and we have tried to incorporate in this three, I would say, googlies. First and foremost is that instead of having only celebrating only one festival, in India and I think in whole of South Asia, fortunately, we've got many festivals coming together within a month or two. Like, for example, last April, we had about six festivals within the month. Eid, Ramzan Eid, and Ram Navami, and Mahavir Jayanti, then Good Friday, and Easter, and like that, Ugadi. So six festivals were there. Like that, 2 to 5, 6 festivals will be there. So what we have done is getting them all together, celebrating this, selecting one common day, and having these festivals on one single day, where people from, I mean, the faith leaders and thought leaders from all these faiths are brought together, and they talk about their each festival, about the values that are promoted by the festival, what festivities happen. And what we realized is normally the common people, the audience who are there, they generally have a better understanding of so many faiths and festivals, and they also realize there's so much commonality in values, practices. So that contributes to reducing the polarization to some extent. The second thing which we have been able to do in this through multi-faith celebrations, like let me just say that, last, as I was mentioning, last April we had these six festivals, and they were organized in 14 different cities of India. So this is happening now. Different cities, people are coming together and organizing these festivals together, multi-faith festivals, and we hope that it will expand and to become a trend. Then the second issue here is it is very difficult to find youth coming for these programs. So what we have done is incorporate into these some activities which will be attractive to youth. Last this month, April 11th of January, and last 2 3 years also, we had been having this Sankranti and then Guru Gobind Singh and Christmas celebrations together with cricket tournaments for youth. So this year, 8 teams had come from different faith backgrounds and all that, and that really contributes to bringing youth together. Similarly, we have so many in every festival, whatever multi-faith we have, we try to have some activities for youth so that they also come and participate, and then they get an opportunity to listen to presentations on different festivals. Then the final thing is, we are trying to get this to the family level. We're trying to encourage people that whatever festival is there, they should invite their neighbors. Now, this is just gone. During my childhood and youth, it used to be a common practice for people to go and visit members of other communities celebrating their festivals. We also used to go to so many, but now this time it has stopped these days. So we are trying to encourage people to invite their neighbors and others, maybe 4 families, 5 families, whatever, whoever is there, so that, one is that neighborhood bonding will increase, that, understanding of other festivals will be there, practices will be there, and this will lead to, harmony in the neighborhood, which can ultimately translate into, better peace and understanding the whole of society. The last thing here, which I would like to mention, is we are coming out with a booklet on 30th of this month, Gandhiji's Martyrdom Day, where about 28 festivals from 7, faiths, we are compiling them together. Each one about the essence of that festival, why it is celebrated, what are the celebrations, what are the values that are promoted. So that booklet, we hope, will be able to add a little more to this whole better understanding of other faiths. And our whole objective is this better understanding will lead to more respect, which is actually happening. We are seeing it in the in field on the ground. People becoming more respectful of others, especially youth also. And when there is respect for others, there can be much scope for hate and for violence. So ultimately, we feel if we really need to get out of this whole vortex of violence, we need to promote better understanding, and nothing can be better than bringing people together for festivals.
Thank
Now,
you.
I would like to move on to the next one, which is Joyance of Peace. Which is Joyance of Peace. Now, for Joyance of Peace, actually, this is an initiative at the South Asia level trying to get people online, especially youth. COVA had part of this initiative like this called Hangout South Asia in 2015. And we had even prepared a website and everything. And when we approached our friends, not only in neighboring countries, but also in India, people were not able to understand how you can have meetings, how you can interact, and all that online. But I think thanks to COVID, everybody has understood the possibility of such interactions. And today, the very fact that we are having this interaction is a proof of that. So, again, when we realize that it is possible, so in last year, 25, we started this initiative again after a gap of 10 years when we started working on that. And the reason why we started was we had this thing of, three of our clients, and who have been very closely associated with COVA for many years. Admiral Ramdas, all of us may be knowing all these three names. Karamat Ali of Pakistan, Pilar, and Tapan Bose of India. So we thought, they had expired during that a little within a period of 1 year. So we thought we have to have some, commemoration for them, some homage for them, and we thought we will start a initiative where every year we will do this. And then because they had all had presence across South Asia, we thought we'll do the South Asia thing. And we came up with this program, Joyance of Peace for South Asia, on 12th of August. And we made an announcement, especially to youth between 15 and 25 years, to come up with videos between below 5 minutes. Uh, yeah, yeah. Thank you, Beena, for this. So, we had this, and then between below 5 minutes, and we got 198 videos from youth from all the 8 countries on this theme of what my vision for South Asia if I am the Prime Minister or President of my country. And believe me, the vision was such, and it's available on our website. We have translated it into all the languages, all the South Asian languages. And everybody who saw this vision, read the vision document, the observation was more or less common that we should replace our present leaders with this young lot. I would like to have Lali Appa and Khushi Appa to, talk about this because they had also gone through this. And then after that, because of this huge success, we thought we will continue. And we had this idea of having, events. So next event was on 12th, on 8th of December, which is SAR Charter Day. There, the topic which was given, again to youth between 15 and 25 years, was how can youth collaborate across borders to reduce poverty and promote peace in South Asia. And believe me, we received another heartwarming 223 videos, excellent videos. And because it was oriented towards, action-oriented topic, we received, 9 specific actionable, points, action points as blueprints to South Asia. These included, we culled out from the videos, these included uh, uh, education across borders or youth exchange program or climate crisis, addressing them together or culture connect and using AI to promote solidarity and collaboration. Like that, we have. So we thought we will move on to the next level, which is now because we have got these 9 actionable points given by the youth themselves. And we have something like already about 400 youth who are in contact, who have provided these videos and others, and about 60 organizations who are partnered in this whole program from the 8 countries. So we thought we will take this forward, and we are thinking of having thematic, dedicated thematic communities for each of these. For climate change, there'll be one community; for culture connect, one; for youth exchange program, and we are going to use WhatsApp communities to get these things going. There's not much time for me to go through it, but you can go to our website, and all the details about how these communities will function and what opportunities it will give to youth will all be there. And
Thank
what
you,
I would like to
Manisha.
request all, both just half a minute, both festival multi faith celebrations can be organized anywhere, not only in South Asia but all over the world. And we have got our website, I'll put it here, website where all the details are given for multi faith. And also we would really solicit and seek partnership for Lions of Peace. That website also you can go and have a look. I will share the link to the website also.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Just
very much for
put
this opportunity, and really happy.
Thanks a lot, and please do put the website links in the chat box so that people can follow. Thank you so much.
I
There's
will
so
do
much
that.
happening.
I will do that. Yeah.
I'll call upon Mr. Vijayan for the Pakistan-India Peace Forum, especially their, the constant issue of fisher folk that they pick up and that we need to constantly deal with each other.
Sorry, there's a bit of a confusion because Manisha has to head to the airport. She's had a bereavement and she has to go pick up somebody.
Okay.
So really
Is
sorry
it
about
okay,
that,
Vijayan?
Vijayan.
Maybe
We have
Manisha.
Visaka next and then Vijayan, because Vijayan, you'd given me another time. You said that you could stay till a little bit later. So if you don't mind, please. Thank you.
Okay, shall we get Manisha first?
Yes, thank you.
Please.
Thank you so much, and apologies,
Sorry for
but this is something, yeah. So Beena, you very kindly asked me to share what I've done. I'm a visual artist based in New Delhi. I, for the longest time, have been painting with home in mind, whether it was my parents, my family. But it was when I went to Pakistan in 2015, which was my second trip, and I started meeting my artist friends and their parents. And I heard the most beautiful stories of partition, which was the stories I have grown up in. My father is 95, my mother's 87, my father's from Sargodha, my mother's from Quetta. And and they're all there. And not a day goes and not a meeting goes when they don't speak about home. When I was in Pakistan, I realized I'm on the other side of the border and the story is the same. And that's when I felt that I need to bring these stories together. So it was almost like I came back to India and I said, I have to bring these stories. And I compiled 47 stories of artists from India and Pakistan, 22 stories of Pakistani artists, 25 from India, all photographed by me in their studio, which is an independent project of mine, but they reminisce a home lost. And what was beautiful was that Salima Hashmi asked me to show it first at the Lahore Biennale. And for the longest time, I was under the impression art does not bridge gaps, as in art cannot change people. I would say, well, it can bring happiness to a person, but it won't change a person, or it won't add to the political ideology. That was my belief. But when I showed this project in Lahore, the kind of involvement I got from the common man, including my taxi driver who dropped me and said, "Aap kya karti hain? Can I see it?" And then he saw it, and then he sends me an email saying that an ordinary job of me as a taxi driver, he wrote in English, gave me the opportunity to see this project and to bring the 47 cards to my kids in Pakistan. And that's when I realized that I need to make this project travel. The Ashmolean Museum showed it for 1 year to commemorate 75 years of our partition, but that was a learning there, and it hit me like a sword. That at least 60% of the British viewers who came to the museum, and it's Oxford, did not know about partition. And I couldn't believe it. And I said, "What were you taught because they would come to me and said, we are very sorry, we didn't know this. So I said, what were you taught? They said, well, we were just told India was divided and everyone lived happily ever after. And that day I said to myself, I have to make this project travel. And it's an inexpensive project. It doesn't need fundings. It's a print file. And it's the only project till now in the world where Pakistani and Indian artists have come together, and as many as 47 of us. So there is a saying in Jainism, the bhikshu monk goes for alms and says, give me food, because they don't cook. And the act of giving an alm is an act of elevation of the giver. And I said, I will go with a begging bowl to institutions, to colleges in India and outside, that please show this project so our next generation knows what it was like to leave home and how the loss of home has affected all of us. I mean, not just me, I have friends who said we cry and we have nothing directly to do with the other side, but why does it hit us? So it's a generational trauma. So I would urge on this forum that 2027 is 80 years of our partition. And if you feel there are institutions who might want to show it, it can be elaborate. There are many ways to show it, and it can be as simple as a print file I sent. Please see that it's shown to college students, to undergrad students, to anyone. And Salima ji said something very beautiful when it was shown at Lahore at the Alhambra for the Fairs Festival. And she said, Manisha, in the history of visual arts, I have not seen a project with so many people from all walks of life, whether they understand English or not, thronging in front of your project, picking up those cards. So it knows no boundaries. It doesn't need a language also. It's that poignant. So I think I'll end here because I just feel, keep in mind if there are opportunities in 2027 for it to be shown. Let's show all projects there are to do with partition across the world. In a small way, we'll make a difference.
You need to unmute.
Thank you, Manisha. That's so uplifting and inspirational to find this way of connecting and the curiosity. There's a new generation now who doesn't know what had happened. Yes. So it's a very, very, very poignant sort of idea. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Beena, who did you want me to ask now?
This is Vijayan. We've got him on the camera.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Vijayan.
Hey, thank you, Rani. And Manisha, that was lovely to listen to that. It's a very important piece of work, and hopefully, on the art side, the Pak India Forum is also hoping that we will be able to do a follow-up of what we did last year, which was an interesting Jugalbandi of Amrita Pritam and Famida Riaz, two stalwarts of Southasian, India-Pak literary works. We want to do a Fairs Ahmad Fairs and the Sahir Ludhianvi Festival this time along in April in New Delhi, along with the National Convention of the Pak India Forum. And also to all South Asian friends, greetings on India's Republic Day coming up tomorrow, because we are still in the battle to hold on to a constitution. We don't want to be told in a few years that it's something of the past and that we have a Hindu Rashtra to deal with. And thanks to Neil Kamal, I really wanted to mention this here. Thanks to Neil Kamal, there's a very interesting story on our architectural commonalities, born undivided, lives undivided. It's a beautiful story. I was just exposed to that. I've been asked to share briefly about a specific issue, the Pakistan India People's Forum for Peace and Democracy. I'm the General Secretary of the Forum in India chapter. We have been working on for past close to 3 decades. While I've been a member of the forum since 97 when I was a second year graduation student in Delhi University, I have been working on this issue since almost 2002 due to my association with something called the National Fish Workers Forum in India, the Pakistan Fisher Folk Forum, due to my affinity and closeness with Father Thomas Kocheri and a stalwart fisher leader from Gujarat, Premji Bhai Khokri. There is something deeply dangerous about the moment when hope disappears. Not because people stop suffering, but because they stop believing they will ever get justice, return home in this instance. That is the condition in which hundreds of fisher people now live across India and Pakistan. They're held in prisons long after completing their sentences. Nearly 99% of the fisher people that we are currently talking about are currently detained in both countries, have already served their full conviction terms, yet remain incarcerated without any legal justification. At present, there are about 193 Indian fisher people held in Pakistan jails, of whom 168 have completed both their sentences and their nationality verification. And most of these people finished their sentences in 2022, and their verification was done by 23. Since then, there has been actually literally no procedural barrier to their release, only administrative and political neglect. Currently, more than 80 Pakistani civilian prisoners and fisheries prisoners are in different Indian jails. The consequences for this has been quite fatal, and this is why this conversation becomes very important now. 4 of fishermen from India died in Pakistani jails, in the Malir jail in last year, and 1 has died in January this year. And the man who died now had completed his sentence in 2021, and his nationality verification was done in 2022. We're talking about 4 years later. A man who should have been released in 2022, mid-2022, has died in the jail in January 2026. At least 10 to 12 detainees in Malar jail are currently reported to be seriously ill, suffering from chronic conditions without any adequate medical care, with hospital records showing extremely poor conditions. All of them have completed their sentences, their nationality verification, all of that. I'm actually only speaking about the current situation, and I'm not wanting to get into too much of the past also because of the time limitations that we have. The messages from inside the jails, which NCHR friends, etc., brought out, are a complete loss of hope, of the belief that they will ever get to return home or meet their families again. The worst part is that this is happening despite the India-Pakistan Consular and Access Agreement, which has been in existence since 2008. Which clearly mandates that prisoners who have completed their sentences must be released within 1 month, a provision that is unambiguous and simply not being implemented. So while India has released fisher people on multiple occasions and currently, in the last 1 year I'm talking about, and currently holds comparatively fewer detainees, Pakistan's last release took place in early 2024 with no meaningful follow-up since then. There was actually a very big, a round of release in 2023 where almost 400 Indian fishermen got released in 2023, but nothing significantly after that. There was something called the Joint Judicial Committee that was created in 2008 on civilian prisoners between India and Pakistan. It was meant to address precisely the situation and was created for this in 2008, has been inactive since 2013. In 2014, we have had a new regime come in. So without the Joint Judicial Committee, which used to visit prisons, which used to do exchange of letters with families, etc., and also inquire constantly about the well-being of the prisoners. Without that, the families are completely trapped between 2 states, and no functioning mechanism of accountability exists in that. New arrests continue even now, including of children, because in the latest arrest that Indian Navy has done, 11 people have been arrested. Out of them, 2 are children, 8 and 11 years old. These detentions are absolutely unlawful by agreement, inhuman in outcome, and are sustained by just sheer political neglect. So to conclude, every additional day of incarceration after sentence completion is illegal detention by both India and Pakistan, and every death after that clearance is inhuman and outrightly a criminal act by all states. It's time we are able to prevent this. On Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, while with Bangladesh the situation is quite balanced with no long-term detention of fisher prisoners. However, in the case of Sri Lanka, the situation is actually very grave, especially with an added issue of there is actually fisheries conflict, which means the fisher people are also at conflict, not just the states, unlike in the case of India and Pakistan. Sri Lankan Navy has resorted to firing and killing Tamil Nadu fishers. This has happened for more than 5 times in the last 15 months alone. But the question of, or the issue of long-term incarceration is nothing similar to the situation between India and Pakistan. Thanks to Tapan Friends for this opportunity. I really wish that we can all collectively add up to doing something more significant in that. We have just had a meeting last week. Beena couldn't join that meeting with fisher organizations and Pak India Forum, Sapan Friends, and all that. We sincerely hope that we can actually do something to better the situation. Thank you very much, Rani.
It's such a so callous of not to follow up on these. And there's a lot of pressure from here also. I remember the National Commission for Human Rights in Pakistan took up the case very strongly, and some fishermen were released from India after that. But there's no consistent exchange, which is what we are really looking for. Thank you so much for. Sorry. Shall we have Visaka now? Visaka from Sri Lanka.
Thank you very much. And thank you for giving the opportunity. It's, I really want to applaud Manisha, because I think amidst of all the difficulties that the world is facing, artists coming and cross-border, I think that's something which really refresh our minds. So really, really very grateful to her. And also, I think Vijayan, the gentleman who spoke before me about the fisheries issue, it's, I know that there have been, what he told is right, it's not only between the government or anything, but between the people, because I have seen when, during the wartime, when we were in the northern areas, the fishermen were showing and telling, look, that's the Indian trawlers are coming and we are not allowed to go to fishing, because there was a prohibition for Sri Lankan, especially in the north and east, for the fishermen to go for fishing. So, this is a long term, and I really believe that the governments have to come together to really resolve these issues, because putting fishermen in jail, I really don't understand, because there is no proper lines in the ocean, and people definitely sometimes do cross. Having said that, Beena asked me to speak about the work that I have done, but a long time ago, on disappearances, missing in action, and involuntary disappearances with families in Sri Lanka. That's exactly why, like when my son went missing, who was a Sri Lankan military officer, in 1998 on the 27th of September, that exactly prompted us to go, 7 mothers to go to the LTT area, which really eventually, our discussions brought in the ceasefire. So, and from that time, I have been working with families. It is a very difficult issue. Sri Lanka is, I think, only after Iraq on disappearances, because we have had from 1971, 88, 89, and then the whole 30-year-long war. We have had so many disappearances, and according to ICRC, there have been 12,000 unresolved cases. So it's a very difficult issue. I know we also, across the region, we share this, where people's existence is not exactly existence is concealed by whatever the authority, whether it's a a government authority or non-state authority. That is an issue for the families, because families have not done anything wrong, but they have to pay. And that is something which is very, very difficult, I think, everywhere in the world. ICRC took some efforts, but I don't know where we went, because even in Sri Lanka, still, we have had several commissions. We have Office of the Missing. But of course, as families, we do want to listen that our loved one is alive. I mean, that's exactly what each and every family want to listen. But that's exactly the difficulty for the authorities. So that's why I also concentrate more on really about these armed conflicts, especially because whether it's a war or an armed conflict, or as our governments would like to say, civil unrest, people are picked up and the whereabouts are not known. So that's a huge issue. This is why more working on other side of the divide. And currently Sri Lanka is experiencing, I think you all from India and Pakistan, I think one gentleman also spoke about interreligious harmony. We have issues on archaeological sites. I mean, these are archaeological sites contested by the Buddhists and the Hindus in the eastern part of our country. So currently my work is really looking at these archaeological sites. We are working with the University of Peradeniya, visiting these places and trying to see how we could use these archaeological sites as common heritage, Sri Lankan heritage, whatever religion it belongs to. Of course, after all, Lord Buddha is a born Hindu. So I really don't understand why we even have to have any issues. I mean, just like all other religions, like Abrahamic religions, what we see, it's why people even fight, because religion is for unity. And when it is dividing us, I think we as human beings have to really look at, much more rationally and think like, why are we even fighting on religion? Because religion is for unity. And if we are truly pious and believe in our faith, because the bottom line in all faith is the same. Don't do any harm to others and don't do anything what you don't like happening to you. I mean, this is the bottom line in all religions. So let's see, especially, I put a post also today in Sapan, like the cricket. We thought cricket is bringing exactly India, Pakistan and Bangladesh together. But now we see cricket is dividing. So we have really gone back a lot. So let's see what we could do to, the whole South Asia. That's why I said when India, Pakistan, because of the issue, the entire South Asia is lagging behind. And the world is looking forward. When you really see at the international forums, it's trade and commerce which are taking more center stage than the borders. So let's at least as South Asians come together and see when we could really cross borders without visas and have a united South Asia. Thank you very much.
Yes, that's all. That's what we are striving for, to have a common ability to meet person to person. And I think this virtual platform enables us at least to connect with each other, which is really, and also to see what is being done in each other's countries to end the polarization. We now have, Beena, you have the list of who should.
We have Amrita Ghosh. Yeah.
Amrita Ghosh, yes, please. Because some people need to be going early. So please, Amrita, will you introduce yourself?
Everyone. Thank you so much. I'm absolutely amazed at this forum and the kind of work that I'm getting to know today. Thanks to Beena for inviting me, and I truly feel honored to be a part of this group. So quick, I won't take much time, but I'm an academic. I'm a professor at University of Central Florida, and my work began on the partition. I'm a partition scholar. And my doctoral work was on partition, and I looked at literature and arts that are rethinking the hegemonic and statist narratives of the nation state. So I really look at both sides of the border the Western and the Eastern, Pakistan and Bangladesh, and to rethinking all kinds of divisive narratives and focus on how writers were rethinking and envisioning a different kind of South Asia. From there on, my work shifted to Kashmir, and my recent book, Kashmir's Necropolis, came out in 2024. And I look at this space in which covert and very overt mechanisms of violence from the Indian state has really affected the people, the nature, and all kinds of layers that are, really not covered or completely erased and silenced from the state. And I also look at gendered narratives and disappearances that some of you spoke about. From there on, I have been working my recent project, and Beena ji is going to be a part of it, hopefully. It's going to be looking at the possibilities of friendship as a really important critical discourse, and we kind of take for granted how important friendship as a discourse is to rebuild communities, to rethink the hatred that hegemonically has been embedded within us. So my recent book that I'm working with a Pakistani scholar, Tamina Pirzada, is going to be called Partitions, Critical Intimacies, where we look at formations of alliances, formations of friendships, and admiration that is there from all the sides between India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. And to look at these stories, and I was thinking about the stories that Manisha ji were talking about too, to shift the narrative from the kind of violence that we've constantly been put through in terms of creation of the memory. So we want to shift the narrative towards the focus on these kinds of intimacies that are there, that have been there. And finally, two next things, I also am a musician on the side. With my colleagues and cross-border collaborations, we are releasing our first album called No Borders next month on February 20th. And there are songs that, I speak Bangla and I speak Hindi, Urdu. I don't write it, but I have learned because of my doctoral work how to speak it at least. But this particular album is informed by the research I do. And one of the songs named Azadi has just come out. Its video has also come out. And we focus on the border creations that have been made through the states on all the sides, from partition into different kinds of pockets of caste discriminations, gendered dialogues. And that video has just come out. I will send out a press release to the forum, to Sapan. But this particular album is in collaboration. Two of the songs are with Pakistani artists, one with Usman Malik, a writer. We wrote a song called Katra Katra, where we are really looking at solidarity movements across the borders. And another called Ek Dhaga with another Pakistani artist, Sana Ilahe. And so please do listen to that album next month. And finally, this is where I would love to have collaboration on this from this forum. And it's an archive that I'm launching with my university. It's called a Southasia Archive. It's going to be a forum of digital humanities where I will be in collaboration with an Afghan scholar, Zohra Saeed, and also a Pakistani scholar, the same person I'm working with on the book, Tamina. And we are trying to map out and archive digitally all of South Asia, especially the marginalized South Asia that we don't get to hear about, from Nepal, from Bhutan, from Sri Lanka. Of course, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh are going to be there. But to highlight the voices that are doing some incredible work, and I'm hearing so much of that. And I really would love all of you to come and become a part of that archive. I will be holding podcasts every month once. I would be highlighting the works of the people that that are happening, but also looking at minoritized dialogues or narratives. How do things become minoritized and marginalized in a systemic way in the regions that we are in? So that's the kind of work that I'm doing, and I would really, really hope to have a collaboration with you all. Thank you so much for the space.
Thank you, Amrita. It's so exciting what you're doing, and it's so important also. So we look forward to your music as well as your other work. And I think this is the platform where we can discuss it more and connect other people with you. So that's very good. Uh, is there, do we have Arif Zaman is here? He wants to.
Yes, hello, hello, and I think I know some of you, but not all of you. So good to see you here. So, I mean, I've put up something in the chat. So, just in the short time that I've got, I don't know, Beena, am I able to show the graphic that I've got up if I just
Yeah,
share
you should
screen?
be able to share your screen.
Okay, so
You
let
can
me
share your
just. I've just got a simple one page to show. So, um, let me just pull that up here. So, yeah, hopefully, can you see that in front of you now?
Yes.
Right.
No,
Can you see?
Not yet.
not yet.
Can you see?
There it is.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then
there.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So, I mean, there's quite a lot here, but essentially, so for those who don't know me, my name is Arif Zaman. I've been involved in South Asia for a number of years through my work in the Commonwealth. We led the first collaboration between the business communities of the Commonwealth and South Asia about 20 years ago this year through the Commonwealth Business Council, then in the SARC chamber. And at the moment, well, for some time now, for about almost a decade, I've been at Bloomsbury Institute, which is a higher education institution in London, which partners with the University of London. We're just next to SOAS and Senate House. And we have our own community radio station. And I put a link in the chat to the show that we did with Beena. We did also a show with Salima Hashmi on her recent exhibition in London. So that's my daughter up on the screen. And the idea that we've been discussing with Beena at Sapan News is to really address this sort of outdated narrative around South Asia being around curry cricket and conflict. I know there were some exchanges in the chat about cricket today, but essentially the idea is there is this perception about South Asia about it being about those things, and we think that there's a different story here. That's not the whole story, and I think there's a different story. It's interesting, the World Bank Global Economic Prospects that came out last December, and many of you will know this, but identified South Asia as the fastest growing region in the world this year, 6.2% growth compared to everywhere else, which is at least a lot less than that. So the idea is that we want to bring this to more visibility. I think it matters to a number of audiences, not least people who are studying business education, where I am. So it's around talking about a region on the rise. This is not to play down its challenges, but to ensure a more balanced understanding of what the context is. So we're bringing together the community radio station, which is Bloomsbury Radio. It's the only radio station in the UK which sits inside a higher education institution that's not run by students, but is run by the institution, with students very much involved, but it's run by people with professional media background. And so the idea is to do a series of radio shows with Sapan News, really around those areas, highlighting the areas of connectivity, commerce, and creativity. Talking about the potential across the region in terms of digital connectivity, the challenges as well, but some of the potential, the point about trade as well and commerce, but also about the creativity and innovation that is there but not fully seen or comes through in the narrative around the region. So this is actually a one-page infographic that sets out this in front of you. I put out in the chat, I explained a little bit more about that, and there's a slide deck and more material which is available. You know, people can contact me or I can share it directly or through Beena or whatever. But essentially, we're looking to start this. There's been a further development, Beena, since we've last spoken, in that for the first time in 20 years, despite all of the challenges, the South Asian business community are bringing a delegation to the UK in April to coincide with the Commonwealth Trade and Investment Summit. So when I say the South Asian business community, I mean the SARC chamber. So the SARC chamber, which many of you will know is based in Islamabad, brings together all the national chambers from across the region. And I've seen the delegate list of those there. You'll be pleased, Beena, it's not all men. although there are quite a few men, there are some women in that delegation. We were pushing them hard on that. And we have people on that list from Nepal, not just Commonwealth countries, Nepal, Maldives, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, I think even Afghanistan on that list. But that is the plan of around 20 people probably being in the UK. And we're just putting together a program of activities around that, working with various stakeholders in the UK, including taking them up to Scotland as well. So I won't elaborate. It's interesting that in Scotland, the current CEO, the CEO of the Scottish Chamber of Commerce from the 1st of February, probably for the first time ever, is someone of Indian origin. He's a Sikh. And we have someone of Iranian origin who's the current CEO of the London Chamber of Commerce. So the diaspora are coming through here, and the South Asian diaspora too. So coming back to the radio show, I think what we'll probably do is we'll probably start the series of about 4 or 5 shows to coincide with that visit, or probably June onwards. June, July, August, September. And that also coincides with the month in the UK, which is called South Asia Month, which is in August, when you tend to see a bit more focus and visibility around celebrating South Asia in different ways. So Beena, I'll stop with that. And then obviously if anybody has any questions, I know you're not taking questions as people are going through because you've got a lot of ground to cover, but I'm happy to follow up later. But I hope, Beena, that's helpful and accurate. You're a very keen journalist, so I hope I'm to your high standards of accuracy. But if I'm not, please feel free to add or subtract to what I've said. Thank you. And I'll stop sharing now.
Thank you so much. It seems that voices are going to be amplified through your radio and broadcasting, as well as this the chambers, women and men coming together from the region. There should be an interesting interaction. Maybe I see Opi Shah Sahab, is he there?
I think he's not. He was here, but he's not. I see Shahidul Alam is here from Bangladesh.
Shahidul, maybe we should have Shahidul to talk about the Chobi Mela, but also his other advocacy work. Hello, Shahid.
Hi, Khawar and Beena. Looking forward to seeing you in Karachi in a few days.
Yes, awesome.
So you're coming to Karachi?
Yes, on the 4th.
He's also going to Lahore.
Oh, you must let me know when you're coming here.
For the Asma Jahangir thing on the.
I said the conference. I'll be
yeah.
I'll see you there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Beena told me to talk about my work, about Chobi Mela, which is not really my work. It's, can you see this? I don't know. Actually, now that I've got my background thing.
Yeah. It flashes up and down. This was actually Khushi had suggested that we ask you to talk about Chobi Mela because
fair enough.
Spoke to her the other day.
Hopefully you can see that. That's the booklet, but let me put it aside. I think, Chobi Mela is not really my work, though I did set up the festival in 2000. It's interesting in the sense that though there was a small festival in Japan, which is still running, even before that, which was not really an international festival, but it was a photo festival all the same. But Chobi Mela, as far as our records show, is the first photo festival in Asia, in South Asia. And I'm not sure because we haven't come across one earlier elsewhere in Asia either. Anyway, we started it in 2000. We attempted to start it in 1995. It was an abortive attempt. We actually got it going in 2000. Since then, it's been critical in launching other festivals, particularly in South Asia. Certainly, we managed to tour the show to India, to Nepal, and other places. And since then, other festivals have taken off in those areas. In India, there have been quite a few, though the first one, which was the Delhi Photo Fest, did fold eventually, but there have been others there. So, in short, it is perhaps the most diverse and inclusive festival in the world. At least that's what the New York Times says. We have work from pretty much all the continents. But I think what is interesting is the fact that our festival has work which is very, very different from what you're used to seeing in the well-known festivals of Arles and Photo Fest and Photo London, etc., where much of the work is from Europe and Europe and North America. Here, predictably, a lot of the work is from Asia, but there is important work from Africa, from Latin America, and of course, Europe and Asia and Australia. So it is a very interesting mix. And in fact, it is one of the few places where people from these parts of the world can get to meet each other, which doesn't happen quite so well elsewhere. We have shows, we have talks, we have film screenings, presentations. What we also do is commission work. So there is a fellowship based on which work is produced specifically for the festival. The talks have ended. They've just ended, but the exhibits go on till the 31st. They're taking place in multiple venues: Shilpakala Academy, the National Museum, 3 venues in our own building, and several others. An outdoor one in front of the House of Parliament as well. But what is very interesting is the mix and the fact that we have work. For instance, we have work by an Indian curator curating work from other places. This is one of the places where you do have people from across South Asia, across conflict zones, working together, collaborating, and that's quite exciting. We did have a hiatus in between. The last festival was in 2019, immediately after 2018, when I was picked up by the government. But at that time, we had Arundhati Roy speaking, and our first session was on freedom of thought and expression in South Asia, which was very interesting, considering that Sheikh Hasina had just rigged yet another election and had full spectral control. At that time, for an entity to be talking about freedom of thought and expression in South Asia was extremely radical. So what happened was that we had people from outside the arts, trade unions, professional bodies, coming to us to say, how were you able to get away with this? How could, at a time like this, an organization like to have a discussion like that? Arundhati came, the government withdrew the venue the night before she was to speak. We managed to find another place. We went ahead. People sat on the floor. We had over 1,000 people listening to it in raptures. We've actually just brought out a publication based on that since. But I think what is very interesting is how much of a melting pot this festival is and how much of an incubator it is. And I think I can trace a whole lot of work across the subcontinent of artists who've initially shown or been featured at Chobimela and have gone on to do bigger and better things. That's about as much as I want to say at this stage. I've, on the chat, put up the program. I've also put up the website, so feel free to look at it. And certainly, we'd be very open to any of you thinking of contributing 2 years from now.
Great. So if these melting pots are what we need in the region for people to interact and create more opportunities. Thanks a lot, Shahidul. Siraj, can I ask you to also talk about your foundation? You are muted. You're muted, sir.
Is it okay now? Can you hear me?
Yes, fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Well, nice to see everybody here. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to. So I'm very excited, actually, hearing some serious stuff. I've put it a little lighthearted note and some success stories, actually. I'm a Pakistani. I'm based right now. I'm in Atlanta. I moved from Boston, but I've been this cross-border stuff that we talk about. I have all success stories in that, and I've held as a Pakistani a multiple entry visa for India. How many people have that? But you see, the thing is that I've been doing excellent work there for 19 years now for O.P. Nayyar Memorial Trust. So imagine a Pakistani heading an Indian legal entity. This is something to really think about, right? And not just a flash in the pan. 19 years. I run a website, opnayyar.org from Karachi. So you see, this is the thing. And I'm sitting here in Atlanta, in USA. So it is amazing. But you see, this project, this initiative has always remained below the radar. I can spend 2 days talking about all the success stories, but right now I'll tell you what's happening right now. We'll bring you literally today that's happening. So O.P. Nayyar, the legendary music composer, I'm his spiritual son. And so this year was his 100th birth anniversary. He was born in Lahore, and he died in Mumbai. He migrated. It's a perfect migration story for him, And then this year, so 16 January to be exact, is the date that he was born in 1926. So it was 100 years, and he actually forecasted his death, really, literally, and it was on 28th of January 2007. And I've been carrying this diya along for 19 years. But what is something sensational has happened this year, and it's probably because of the 100th anniversary. So we've had on the 16th of January, 17th of January, major events in India. 16th in Mumbai, 17th was phenomenal, held at India Islamic Cultural Center in New Delhi, on Lodhi Road, just a few miles away from the Prime Minister's office. And the Prime Minister Modi had given instructions that there should not be even a slight disturbance in this event to take place. You know how amazing it is that a Pakistani sitting here organizing something in New Delhi about a musician who's from India, from Mumbai. It went off so well. And right now, as of today, I'm telling you, we have an event in Atlanta where I'm here on 15th of February to pay tribute to this phenomenal, legendary music director who never believed in. He said the border never existed. 1947 doesn't exist. Border doesn't exist. That's the way it is. And I'm being his spiritual son. I'm carrying his lamp along with that. So it is really very exciting, and I'm telling. Beena knows about this because we lived in Boston for so many years together. That if there is one thing, Manisha, I think, spoke about cricket diplomacy, which has gone to the dogs actually right now. Sorry to say that, but art is the only thing. I'm telling you this. Take my word. Which really goes across borders without visa, without. We just have to promote this thing, and we have mechanism to do it. So I think looking ahead in the future, I think we should really looking at performing arts, the artists going back and forth, an artist of all type. The other thing I want to take a few minutes to tell you about something which I'm very heavily involved in, and we don't talk about it on Afghanistan and Taliban, right? I head an organization. I'm a board chair of an organization called APWI, Afghan Pakistan Women's Economic Empowerment. As a man, Pakistani, heading an organization which has, I'm the only Pakistani and only male. All the other are women. And, I'm having these sessions like what we're having right now with Taliban. Can you imagine? I teach Taliban management. Every week, 2 hours I have to dedicate in order to get my work done in Afghanistan. It's like a tit for tat kind of thing. That I've got this secret formula, which is now in public, and I do this thing. And Beena knows a lot about all those things. So I'm always on the Taliban radar. But I make sure that I stay safe, and they are thankful and grateful to me. There's a lot which can be done in Afghanistan. And when people talk about borders, I get very upset when they talk about only India-Pakistan borders. We've got a border in Bangladesh, And just yesterday, they threw out Bangladesh from the cricket tournament. I mean, this is ridiculous to get Scotland inside. Bangladesh is out. I have written a very strong letter to ICC, about this. I mean, they can't do that stuff but, so talking about borders, there's a border there in Bangladesh and India, and we don't talk about is a border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Constantly in conflict, constantly. And, so I think a lot of these things have to be, articulated, and I think we are approaching our fifth year now, mashallah, in March. And I think we should start prep for it, but I think we talk a lot about these 8 SAARC countries, but only few get in visibility. And I'm personally, I'm saying maybe I'm getting too emotional. I think we should spread the wings a little bit and not just mention Afghanistan as on the buy side or Nepal on this. Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, every country, and Beena was talking about this EU. I mean, we have a little EU of our own here. We cannot even, deal with each other. And we are talking about going to Gaza and all these fancy stories. We have to unite first here, ourselves. And really, so I think our target should be going forward is to really make concerted efforts on this thing. And so I won't say, I think I've said already too much, but, please be in contact with me in an offline. I'll tell you a lot about what is going on the music front. And music is bringing people together. And it's so wide that just look at it. Open Air event being taken place in Atlanta, and so it's very global. People are looking at us. I'm new here, and everybody talks about what amazing work Sapan is doing. Believe Sapan, I'm so proud to be a founding member. But when people unknowingly just come to, oh, you're in Sapan, you can just see how excited I get when they do that. So, Sapan is getting its name. And I think Beena's movie has got a lot to do with it. So thank you very much for giving me the time, and let others also speak on this issue. Thank you, Beena.
Thank you. Thank you. It's very encouraging to hear all these nice things and people's efforts and exciting efforts that we don't always know about. So I would like to now call on Kanak. He's starting a very exciting institute, South Asia Institute. Kanak, would you like to please share with us your vision? Is Kanak there? He was.
Why don't we have Hannah while we find Kanak?
Okay.
Can
Hannah?
you just tell me if my camera is not working, but can you hear me?
Oh,
yes,
sorry, Kanak. I put Hannah on the spotlight.
I can come after Hannah. I can come after Hannah.
Okay.
Yes, Hannah. You're muted, Hannah.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Khawar, and thank you so much, Beena, for asking me to come here today. This is my first meeting with Sapan, and I'm really excited about all the work that you're doing. I've been involved since last year, since I met you, Beena. So again, very honored to be part of this. And I know that a lot of you don't know me, so I'll just tell a little bit about myself and the work that I'm doing. I used to work in Bangladesh as a journalist for many years with the Daily Star newspaper. And then I started working with an advocacy organization called the Chittagong Hill Tracts Commission, which basically works for advocating for indigenous people's land rights in the Chittagong Hill Tracts. And Khushi was here a little while ago. She's one of the members of the commission. So I've basically been involved with indigenous land rights activists for more than 15 years now. But for the last 10 years, I've been living in Canada. And although I've not been directly involved with the work, I've been more focusing on research and writing, and currently almost finished my PhD dissertation. And my dissertation and my general research has been on land rights activists. So I've worked with lawyers, youth activists, and traditional leaders, which are the headmen and the Carbaris in the Chittagong Hill Tracts, and basically how they let their voice be known and how they try to get their land rights. Because if many of you might not know, but the Chittagong Hill Tracts, the three districts of the Chittagong Hill Tracts is the three of the most militarized places in Bangladesh. It's basically under military occupation. So, and a lot of land had been grabbed by the Bangladeshi state, and that continues today. But there was a peace accord that was signed in 1997 and never, but the government never kept the promise. So they're still trying to get those land back. So this land back movement and how it works. And if we talk about peaceful protests or peaceful kind of movement, my research finds that, I mean, this is probably one of the most peaceful, because the three groups that I just talked about, lawyers, youth activists, and traditional leaders, they're involved with how their land rights can be recognized through the state system. So their advocacy is very much focused on state law, state recognition, writing petitions, which is one of the things that I focus on, and reminding the state of their obligations, etc. So that's a bit about my research. And I do also a lot of public writing, and there are two things that are going to be published very soon. And Beena, actually, with both those events which are leading to these publications, I met you at first at the conference in Harvard, which Beena Lakshmi Nepram organized. And so that is going to become a publication, a book. And that book focuses on indigenous peace initiatives. So I'll have a book chapter there. And one of the things that I actually look at is how women traditional leaders, so women Karbaris, this position didn't exist before. It's only in the last 11 years that women are allowed to become Karbaris, and how they have been doing the grassroots work of building peace in so many different ways, like within homes and also within their communities. So that book is going to be published sometime in the spring or summer of this year. And there are also other communities, other indigenous communities, and how they work on peace. I think that will be a very enlightening work. I'm really looking forward to that. Another paper that is going to come out as part of series of publications is sorry, there's a question from Beena. Okay, sorry, I should have explained that. Karbaris. So Karbaris are village leaders. So the indigenous communities, they have a traditional traditional leadership system. So at the top is the circle chief, and then is the headmen. The headmen are also women, and they're called Nari headmen, so basically women headmen. They are in charge of the several villages together, and then at the village level is the Karbaris, so at the very grassroots level. So and they are involved with traditional disputes, but also land management in various ways. So, so that's one of them. And the other is a publication on borderlines, which is going to bring out, and I think a lot of people will find this interesting, is work on majoritarianism and how like religious and ethnic majoritarianism works in South Asian spaces. So I'm writing one on basically following the July movement, how the indigenous communities of Bangladesh were invisibilized, they were harassed, and they never became part of the anti-discrimination sort of, commitment that the student movement, presented to us. So the indigenous communities were not part of that understanding of anti-discrimination, because right after the July movement and fall of the dictator, there were attacks on the indigenous communities. So that is going to be my contribution to that Borderlines publication. But there are also papers on India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Beena, you are part of that conference, so you're aware of a lot of those papers. I also, like, there has been a lot of something that you might be interested to see as well, and I'll share the links here, because Shohidul Bhai is here today, and he's worked on at least 2, if not 3, projects on indigenous communities, films and exhibitions. And one of the exhibition I was a part of, and that is about the disappearance of Kalpana Chakma, who was a very vocal activist, a woman activist, indigenous woman activist, and who was disappeared in 1997. And I think last year the case against her was dismissed. And basically the court said that because we can't talk to her, we cannot ensure that she was actually abducted. Just to give you a sense of how the courts work when it comes to indigenous communities in Bangladesh. And I think a lot of these things that we face in Bangladesh are very similar to what the indigenous communities face in India and Pakistan. So I'll paste those links here, because I think Shohidul Bhai still has those exhibition photos on his website. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Is Kanak, are you there?
Yeah, if it's okay, I'll just speak up
Okay.
without my image, all right?
Okay.
Okay, Khawar, I see that you are up and about. We met a few months ago in Lahore. I'm glad you seem to be doing better. And
yes, much better.
Great. And thanks to Beena for chaperoning Sapan in this very successful journey ahead in a very difficult terrain, as she and I also were co-founders of Himal South Asia more than 25 years ago, and we both know how difficult it is to sustain momentum and gain momentum and sustain is the formative word actually, on a South Asia topic, because you can easily go viral on any number of topics when you're focused on within a country. But South Asia does not resonate as much in the public enough that journalists who have less fortitude will never stay the course. And that's why I think, there's no question that Sapan is important. Secondly, it requires people like Beena and others who've been along on this ride to make it even more vital than it has become. But the trajectory is good. Now, quickly on 2 or 3 personal points beyond, after which I'll get to the idea that Khawar asked me to speak about, which is the South Asia Institute for History and Philosophy that we have started here in Kathmandu. But before that, 2 or 3 points. One is in the last 4 months or so, 3 months ago, the South Asians for Human Rights, SAHR, which is headquartered in Colombo, they invited some of us to be members of their counselors for South Asian human rights. So I'm happy to report to you that together with Hina Jilani, Saeed Hamida, and a few others, I'm also in it. And our idea is to try to come up with a voice across the cities of South Asia to whenever we think a subject demands a positioning. And an earlier speaker talked about why we should focus on within South Asia and rather than go and talk about Gaza. But I might tell you that one of the first things we would like to do is to come out with a joint statement of the counselors for human rights of South Asia on Gaza and the Board of Peace. I think as South Asians, we must also be involved and engaged with the rest of the world and agree and disagree with things and trends that are happening elsewhere. Within South Asia, I can tell you that there might be difficulties in the future because it'll be very difficult for people from every capital and every city or various cities of South Asia to agree on something, because there are populist pressures and exclusionary trends everywhere that sometimes one is more comfortable about criticizing another country than one's own, or another society than one's own. So we'll see how it goes. I myself see that this is something that has to be done. There have to be South Asians that come together to speak up, but speak up on all matters relating to all countries of South Asia, because I find that sometimes can be a challenge, but this is not the time to talk about that. There's a very personal initiative I thought I would take in the days ahead. I'm very interested in natural history and wildlife biology, in particular the one-horned South Asian rhinoceros. And doing my research, it's hardly research, doing my readings, I've found that there were the South Asian rhinoceros, two subspecies existed till about 2 centuries ago, or even a century and a half ago, in present-day Bangladesh, in present-day Pakistan, along the Kabul River into Afghanistan, as well as in Sri Lanka, right? But on the other hand, now the rhinoceros is limited in its terrain, natural habitat, to Bhutan and Nepal and India. So I thought Nepal should start, given that Nepal is the chair of SARC, an organization that needs reviving, but the Nepali government and the Nepali state and the Nepali politicians and the Nepali civil society not at all interested to take this path, which might put them in the crosshairs of Mr. Modi of India. So there's no traction there for SARC within officialdom in Nepal. So I thought what Nepal should do, at least some of us should try to promote, is, let's call it rhino diplomacy. That Nepal has an excess of rhinoceros in its forests. We must ask that neighboring countries which do not have the rhinoceros today, but had in the past, they should set aside wild lands, not cages and not paddocks, but wild lands where the rhinoceros may be reintroduced. Okay, this is a quick note, personal note, but now I'll be quicker with 2 other points. Film South Asia Festival, as you know, has been running for quite a bit now, 20, 25 years. The festival opens in FSA 26, opens in November. So I mentioned this to this group so that you are alert to any new documentaries being made around South Asia, because we would like to make sure that we go to all corners to look for fine documentary filmmakers. Now, as far as the South Asia Institute for History and Philosophy is concerned, I have personally felt that what we do, from photography to film festivals to journalism, all kinds of activities, the Society of South Asia, which comprises a fourth of the world's population, requires 100 or 100,000 activities happening continuously in different fields. There's no doubt about that. So everything that we do is vitally important. The one area where I feel we are lacking is in academia. South Asian academia working to theorize, to write about, and to provide the platform that the rest of us can really use in our activism, in our journalism, etc. So academia provides a platform, I have no doubt about it, but there is less and less willingness of academia, particularly in the national capitals, to talk to each other and to theorize and to talk about the ontology of South Asia, for example. So I personally feel that the conceptualization of South Asia has not happened as yet. We are doing many other activities, many other important activities, but not giving a theoretical platform for what we do and why we do. So in that context, we are also in that context, because it's very important that we introduce and reintroduce the humanities back into undergrad and postgraduate education in South Asia. And I believe that if we were to do that, we might provide more energy to the movement for South Asia. And I think we do need a movement for South Asia. There's no other alternative for us. But for that, you need academics who are thorough and critical thinkers and certainly courageous. But courage comes from academic confidence. I have come to realize. So in that sense, what we're doing specifically is a master's in history and philosophy affiliated with Kathmandu University, and we are open for admission starting February. This is February 2026, and classes begin April 2026. We know as a new institution, we'll start with a few students, particularly because this is the era of STEM, and everybody wants to, of course, A, go overseas, B, if at all looking for a career, they want to look for it in engineering and medicine and AI and IT and MBAs and business administration. But there is a need for humanities education. So what we're doing is providing a master 2 years course, and not an evening or an afternoon classes course. It's going to be a daytime course. People have to come to Kathmandu, whether from elsewhere in Nepal or from elsewhere in South Asia. We have some nibblings of interest, in particular from Pakistan and Bangladesh, also because we haven't done enough of an outreach. We also clearly will start with students, a majority of students being Nepali, but starting in April, over 2 years, I hope we will begin to generate the kind of students in humanities that will create that foundational academic and intellectual platform required for the rest of us to do the kinds of work that we do. That's what I have to say, Khawar, at this point.
Thank you so much. Kanak, I think it's a very important initiative, but we've really had such multi-dimensional sort of sharing, which gives us a lot of ideas about what we will do over the year in our special monthly seminars and webinars, and who to connect with also. So I think we've gone over time a lot, but can I ask Lolly, to sort of sum up the discussion? I'm sure that we've had quite a rich discussion so far in information sharing. So it'd be good if you could wrap it up.
Wow. When Beena asked me, she said, Dolly, will you just do a summing up at the end? And rather foolishly, I said, yeah, sure. How am I ever to sum up this absolutely incredible, exciting, I don't have words left anymore, truly. I mean, it's incredible. And yes, a huge congratulations to Beena, Sapan, the drivers, the volunteers who have actually been working on this. And I agree with Kanak when he says we have no option but to be actually creating many initiatives, many such movements. I just have, and I know it's getting late and soon we'll be probably down to just a few, 2 or 3 of us left. 2 or 3 points, though, that I feel we didn't touch upon. And that to me has actually been the elephant or many elephants in the room. Every single person who spoke had some of the most incredible stories to tell about the strength, the depth, the antiquity, the importance of building those bonds, whether through music, art, poetry, history, philosophy, rhinoceroses. I mean, you just name it, and they were all out there. Why is it that we have actually not been able to move in the direction which I think is essential? When I talk about the elephant in the room, it is not just SARC and the SARC Secretariat. We have tried with our work with the doyens of peace that we will do it on a SARC day, but it hasn't moved beyond that. What I am talking about actually is how do we reach out to the political, intellectual, bureaucratic leadership in our countries who have to just be able to hear what I have heard or we have all heard this evening for 2 hours. It's unbelievable. And I think that that is something that we have to now very seriously apply ourselves to, because it's wonderful to do all the things we're doing and to share it and have a terrific high and a great feel-good factor. But if that is really going to make a difference in the region, clearly there are the two big elephants in the room, which are India and Pakistan. We have to somehow or the other start listening, start talking, and somewhere it has to be groups like us coming together who have to put that kind of pressure and see what it is that we can do. I just also want to sort of end really in a way with a bit of a nostalgic personal is political story, because somewhere there are many of these stories which I think now need to be retold and resurfaced. And mine is particularly a very unusual one. There was an Admiral Ramdas who happened to be commanding a very major naval establishment based in Visakhapatnam. He was among the group to be considered to become the chief of India's Navy. Our daughter was in America, had met a young Pakistani in college. They had been seeing each other for over 7 years, and they kept hoping that father would retire, but he didn't. April 90, our daughter rings up and says, Papa, can I have your permission to get married and your blessings to get married to Zuli? Now, father says, of course you have, but he went to the defense minister and the prime minister at that time, asking for permission and asking permission to travel to America to attend his daughter's wedding. There were leadership at that time who said, your promotion has nothing to do with who your daughter marries. That is the kind of political leadership that we really, truly now need to work to put back in place so that we have a semblance of some kind of civility, some kind of understanding that if South Asia is to survive, it can only survive through friendship, through bonding, through discussions, through solving our many real problems, but through dialogue, which is, in Manishankar's famous words, uninterrupted and uninterruptible. So that's all I want to say. Thank you, all of you, for having been here, for contributing. And I just hope that, we go on from strength to strength.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everyone.